What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave. First things first, I'm going to give you all a little plot summary, and I am getting into a lot of spoilers, just a heads up. So, this movie is a direct sequel to the last one, so you have quite a few returning characters and like at least the ones that didn't die. All the you have the surviving characters, but yeah, you have quite a few returning characters, and this time they're at college, and you have the main character from the last one is the same main character in this one, and in the beginning, his uncle is trying to sell the last canister of trioxin and he gets killed, and then the main character, he does some digging. He finds there's a couple more canisters of trioxin in the secret room in his house. So the guy from the last movie, who was kind of the smarter guy, he was a hacker. In this movie, not only is he a hacker, he also has a lot of science knowledge. So the main guy brings the trioxin to him to run some tests on it, and there's this one DJ guy there with him. He tries it because he wants to trip, and it does have drug properties where he's saying, I forgot exactly what he was saying, but the drug experience was supposed to be like a mix between ecstasy and shrooms, and they do have like a couple of sequences where they show like a point of view of the people tripping. But anyways, they find out that if you take a small dose of trioxin, it'll make you trip. So the smart hacker kid, he's trying to cash in. They make it in pill form and they sell it to everyone. And all while this is happening, there's a rave that's scheduled for Halloween. So that's in the third act. You have the rave, and everyone gets a hold of these pills. They didn't know earlier that trioxin turns people into zombies. So yeah, they get a short-lived high, but then eventually they all turn into zombies. So that's the basic plot. So just to get into my overall enjoyment of this, I was really not a fan of this, but I did like it a lot more than the last one. Um, the 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 setting was a lot better in this. I liked the college setting. I liked the party elements because I'm a fan of just regular party movies. So that was fun. The actual rave was really cool. You had just so many people, and they decorated it really nicely. They spray painted a bunch of stuff. Everyone was wearing costumes. That was cool. So the setting was cool. I liked all the party elements. In my opinion, the makeup effects looked better in this. The zombies look better. That could just be because a lot of this takes place more in the day. But I thought the zombie makeup, it didn't look bad in the last one, but it definitely looked better in this. There was some good gore, some good kills. There was actually quite a bit of comedy in this. More comedy in this than in the last one, so I liked that. But yeah, overall I just wasn't a fan. The comedy was really sparse. There wasn't the comedic moments were good, but there really wasn't that much comedy. Like the entire tone of the movie wasn't comedic, and the main guy, and in the last one and in this one, to me he was kind of boring. I mean, sometimes you want the main character to be kind of the straight man, but I just like really didn't care about him in either movie. In both of these movies, part 4 and 5, I liked the comedy, but I feel like there wasn't enough Like I would really get into it, and then I was like, oh, it's not gonna happen for a long time. So yeah, overall, it just had a generic, boring feel, and it definitely the fourth one, the fifth one, you can definitely uh, sense a dip in quality. Like just when you're watching it, it just feels like not as good of quality as the first three. Um, but even though I wasn't a fan of this, I didn't hate it. I mean, I wouldn't watch it again, but it wasn't terrible. Um, something, some things that I did like were, like I said, uh, I thought the makeup and the gore was better. A couple standout kills were, there's this instance in the beginning where this guy gets his head smashed and his eyeballs pop out. That looked really good. There was a kill where this one guy got drumsticks shoved through his eye, through both eyes. That was really cool. And getting into some crazier kills here, I wrote these down as WTF moments, but since I'm already on kills, this goes into kills as well as some of the funniest moments. So there was this sequence where this guy, uh, they're parking the car. They're at like Makeout Point or whatever. I don't know, but you know what I mean. So she has turned into a zombie at this point, but she's facing the other way and you can't see. And she starts giving him head as a zombie, and it's a cutaway. You don't see anything, but you see her doing the act and the implications there, and you hear the guy screaming. So basically, she turns into a zombie. She's giving this guy head, and then she bites off his package. That was just insane and super hilarious. I love that. That was a great comedic moment, a great kill. Um, Another comedic kill was, there's these cheerleaders and they're doing this like pyramid type thing, and the zombie just is like fixated with one of the girls' butts, and he just like bites a giant chunk out of it. I don't know. I thought that was pretty darn random and pretty hilarious, and really, yeah, it was pretty darn cool. So that was awesome. And then there's this vegetarian guy, and he's just uptight throughout the movie, just super unlikable. It's just like, dude, what, just take a chill pill. I don't know what his deal is, but he's always wearing vegan shirts, and well, he's vegetarian, but I mean vegan is similar. So he's wearing vegetarian shirts that say like meat is murder, blah blah blah, and he meets with this group that they're talking about like, hey, do you want to discuss how, about animal cruelty and how meat is murder and blah 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 blah. And at that point he has already turned into a zombie, so he's gonna eat some meat. He's gonna eat all of his friends. So I thought that was a really, really funny situation. Um, yeah, some other things that I liked is that they were selling trioxin as a drug. Um, it didn't. That's well. It was like I had like a love-hate relationship with that, because it was kind of silly, because in the previous movies, when people are exposed to trioxin, they're never tripping. But then I was thinking like, they're in this movie, when they're tripping, they're only exposed to like a droplet sized amount. So in previous movies they're exposed to more. So I mean, I think I'm overthinking it, but if you're just exposed to a little droplet, maybe you trip. So it was a little bit different than the other movies, but I thought that was pretty creative, and I liked how the guy, like, he immediately thinks like, let's package this up and sell it as a drug. Like, I mean, I don't know, if you were in that situation, like if you could make some quick money, would you do that? I mean, that is risky though, because I mean, not even, I mean, who, they would have never thought that it was going to turn people into zombies, but you never know, it could give people liver failure or heart failure. It's a very risky situation, but they all just took that opportunity and they just cashed out. There was this drug dealer guy. He would always open his jacket, like you see that in movies sometimes, like in some comedic stuff where he's got all the pill bottles, he's got all the weed. He's just like, "What do you need? I got the drugs." So they didn't even have to sell the drugs themselves. They had the guy, and then he just gave them a cut. He gave them $1,400 each, which isn't the most amount of money, but they really didn't have to do that much work. They just had to package up something that they got for free and then give it to this guy to sell it. They didn't even have to sell it, so all they had to do was package it and give it to the guy, and they made a quick $1,400. Like, they were just trapping straight up, and I appreciated that. And it was cool because the guy in this movie and the last movie, he's, you know, supposed to be a smart character, but he's not like a stereotypical nerd. Like, he's really smart, but he's still like smooth and charismatic, and you know, he's willing to trap and, you know, make some profits. So he's a very well-rounded character in my opinion, and I was just like, you know, I don't know, I just like that they took that opportunity. And like I said, it was creative. That, you know, I don't think I've ever seen a movie where you know, you take this substance, you ingest the substance, and then you trip, but then it eventually turns you into a zombie. I haven't seen that. So yeah, that was pretty darn unique. The whole, like I said, I like the whole rave setting, the whole party setting. I'm just going to take a quick breather here. I'm going to check my notes for a second, see what else I need to talk about. So yeah, something really cool about this is, if you all have seen the previous movies, the first movie and the second movie, you know the Tar Man. So something that was really cool about this is the Tar Man made an appearance, and the makeup looked different, but it still looked really good, and I knew who it was right away. And when I was looking up the cast, it looks like the same guy who played the Tar Man in the first two movies played this guy. And I like, since this is the last movie of the franchise, the last scene is just the Tar Man walking off into the distance as the sun's going down. I thought that was nice. I thought that was a nice way to end the franchise. And I feel like they definitely, with bringing that character back for this and with that ending, I feel like they did pay a little homage to the earlier entries and just to the franchise as a whole. So seeing Tar Man was cool. There was this guy in the beginning. He was a coroner, and I don't know if I was hearing correctly, but I'm pretty sure his name was Usna, after Brian. He was named after Brian Usna, the director of Part 3. And then the coach, the soccer coach, or the cheerleading coach, I forgot. I think he was the soccer coach. He was named Coach Savini. So, I mean, that's a obvious shout out to Tom Savini. If you all are into horror movies, he did the first Friday the 13th. He did The Burning. I believe he did Friday the 13th Part 4. He's done makeup for so many iconic movies. The list goes on and on and on and on. Those are just a couple that I remember. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't know. But I'm a sucker for all that, those little winks and nods. So it was definitely cool. They're paying tribute in that way, and it was a cool little reference. I'm like, hey, I know that guy, you know? So that was pretty darn cool. Oh yeah, so I pretty much got into most of the WTF moments I wanted to talk about, with the blowjob kill, the vegetarian guy kill, and the girl getting bit in the butt. But some other WTF moments are, so like I said, the kid's uncle gets killed in the beginning, and when he gets the news that his uncle died, there's this like sad, dramatic music playing, and people are like, "Hey, are you okay, man?" And I was just shocked, because in the last movie, his uncle was responsible for basically killing his parents and turning them into zombies. His uncle was testing doing tests on zombies, pretty much responsible for the death of a bunch of his friends, and his uncle was responsible for kidnapping his friend Zeke in the previous movie. So why? I was like, what the f? Like, why is he? What's up with the sad music? How is he sad that his uncle died? His uncle was one of the main villains in the last movie, and then now he's sad about it. Like, I mean, I understand the kid has like no family at this point, but dude, you should be like celebrating that your crazy uncle passed away. That dude he was up to no good, dude. What the heck? So that was weird. This isn't really important, but I just thought the exercises they were doing at their soccer practice were just like so strange. They were doing sit-ups and that was normal, but then they were doing this one thing where they would just touch their toes and then touch their hands up. Like, what does that even do? And then they were just doing that over and over and over again. It was like a stretch. It wasn't even an exercise, but they were doing it over and over, and they were like, oh, I'm so tired. This is so strenuous. Like, you're doing like a stretch over and over again. Like, what the heck? I thought that was weird. I don't know. That's not really something significant to bring up, but that's what I wrote down WTF moments for. I did that in the last review. I just decided to do that for my notes in this review too, because sometimes, I don't know if you all feel like this, but sometimes when you're watching a movie, you're just thinking like, what the f, man? Like, why did they choose to do this? Why did they choose to do that? You know. So let me just take a quick look at the old notes here. Oh yeah, another thing that I did like were, I believe this is really one of the last points that I have to talk about because I hit most of the stuff that I want to talk about. Another thing that I did like in terms of comedic moments were these two secret agent guys. I'm pretty sure that they were Russian, but they were trying to find the trioxin throughout the whole movie, and they were these, they were serious characters. They were these agents. They were on a mission. They had to find the trioxin and bring it back to their government. But there was so many comedic instances with them. Like after one scene, they're like, "Yeah, let's go get Krispy Kreme," or they would just say like random stuff. At one point, he just like accidentally shoots this kid. He's just like, "Oopsies, oh, oops." Like, he didn't exactly say that, but he was just like, "Oh, whatever. I accidentally." He was trying to save this girl. He's like, "Oh, shot the guy. Sorry, oopsies." Like, he was just so nonchalant about it. And then they're trying to infiltrate the rave, and the kids are like, "Hey, you guys can't go in there with those suits. You look like a bunch of narcs." And then so then they steal these girls like Viking costumes, but they're sexy Viking costumes. So it's like it's just a bra and some shorts, and they're just walking around with some, with like these bras on and these little short booty shorts during the rave. I thought that was really funny. So I just enjoyed their characters overall throughout the movie. Honestly, I mean, now that I'm talking about this, there was quite a bit that I did like about it, but when I was watching it, it did drag for me. It was pretty boring, and it wasn't anything that I would really watch again. But like I said, I didn't hate it, but I really was not a fan. I really didn't like it. But it was definitely cool to check out this entire series. I have checked out the entire series now. I haven't done a review for the first one. I'll do that eventually. I don't know if I'll do it, right away or later. But I mean, I'll eventually get to that. But now that I've seen every movie in the franchise, it's pretty cool because I'm always like interested in checking out sequels. Even, like I said, even if I know they're not going to be the best, sometimes I just like to watch an entire series. So yeah, I've said everything that I wanted to say about this movie, and I just would like to thank you all for watching. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Have a good one.